Wait, so your husband secretly joins a dating app, exchanges photos with some random woman, gets extorted for £5,500 from your shared savings, and then she sends those images to your family, your friends, and even his own colleagues. That's exactly what happened here. And honestly, it gets so much worse. This story is from Reddit, and trust me, you're not ready for the fallout. So here's how this whole thing starts. The wife, she's 29, finds out that her husband, 30, has been on a dating app. And not just browsing, like casually looking. No, he's exchanging explicit photos with someone. And here's the weird part, that someone turned out to be an extortionist. Probably overseas, the police later said. They started demanding money, and he paid, from their joint savings account, behind her back. £5,500, just gone. And once he couldn't pay anymore, the person released the photos anyway, sent them to family, to friends, to his colleagues on LinkedIn. I mean, can you imagine? You're just living your life, thinking you're saving for a down payment on a home, and then suddenly everyone you know has seen your husband in a way they never should have. The wife says she's been sick ever since, physically sick and ashamed, which, okay, let's pause right there. She did nothing wrong, but she's the one carrying the shame. That part just breaks my brain. She says, and I'm quoting here, "This has destroyed me. I can't stay after this." Now, the police and even the solicitor her husband talked to called this revenge smut. That's the term they used. But when she posted this on Reddit, the commenters were quick to push back. They said, look, revenge smut is when someone shares intimate images specifically to get back at you after a breakup or a fight. That's not what happened here. This is just cheating plus a straight-up scam. The guy went on a dating app willingly. He sent those photos willingly. Then he got blackmailed. That's not revenge, that's consequences. And honestly, the more you read, the worse it gets. Because not only did he drain their savings, but he also tried to lie about it at first. He told her the images were old, from before they met. But she noticed some of them were taken in their flat, the flat they moved into together. So he finally admitted the truth. He met someone on an app, the photos were recent, and yeah, he'd been paying this person for a while. She says he swore up and down that he never met anyone in person, never physically cheated. But here's the thing, does that even matter? He was on a dating app. He was exchanging explicit photos. He took money from their future, from their home, from her trust. For a lot of people, that's cheating right there, no technicality needed. And the financial part, that's what really stings. They had been married for 2 years, together for 4, saving for a down payment. And now they have nothing. Nothing. Every pound they put aside, gone. She says nearly everyone they know now knows what he did. The humiliation isn't just private anymore, it's public. It's on LinkedIn, for crying out loud. So here she is, 29 years old, married to a man who betrayed her in multiple ways, financially ruined them, and then wanted sympathy because he was the victim. But the more you look at it, the less victim, why it feels. He made choice after choice, dating app, exchanging photos, paying the extortionist instead of telling his wife, lying when caught, only coming clean when the evidence was unavoidable. And the wife, she's not buying the victim narrative. She says, I can't stay. Not because of the revenge smut label, not because of the scam, but because he was on a dating app, because he took their savings, because he broke everything they were building. She's done. And honestly, reading through her words, you can feel how exhausted she is. Not even angry anymore, just hollow, betrayed, ready to walk. So that's where the first post leaves us. She's saying goodbye. But of course, Reddit being Reddit, the comments came flooding in. And then she posted an update. And that update, yeah, we need to talk about that next. All right, so after the wife posts her story, the Reddit comments section absolutely lights up. And honestly, the consensus is brutal but fair. One of the top comments says flat out, he was cheating, not a victim. And that's kind of the theme throughout. People are not buying the whole revenge smut angle at all. They're like, look, revenge smut would be if an ex sent your photos out after a breakup. This guy went on a dating app, sent explicit pictures to a stranger, and then got caught. That's not being victimized, that's facing the music. Another commenter puts it even more bluntly. They say he fell for a scam, probably a dude overseas. And here's the thing, the police later confirmed the extortionist wasn't even in the country. So yeah, this wasn't some scorned lover. This was likely a professional scammer running a shakedown operation. And the husband, he paid up, again and again, until their savings were empty. This is the part that gets me. He didn't come clean when the first payment happened, or the second, or the 10th. He just kept feeding the fire until there was nothing left. Right, so how is he the victim here? One commenter really nails it. He drained your savings to save himself. That's it. That's the whole thing. He wasn't protecting her. He wasn't protecting their marriage. He was protecting his own embarrassment. And he used their joint money to do it. The money they were saving for a down payment, for a home, for their future. All gone because he didn't want to admit he messed up. And the commenters keep coming back to her. Multiple people tell her directly, "You have nothing to be ashamed of," which she really needed to hear, because in her post, she kept saying how humiliated she felt. But why should she feel humiliated? She didn't go on a dating app. She didn't send photos. She didn't empty their savings. She was just married to someone who did all of that. One person writes, "You are the victim here, not him. He's just an idiot." And that word idiot shows up a lot in the comments. Not evil, not monster, just idiot. Because honestly, what he did wasn't mastermind manipulation. It was just stupid, reckless, selfish. The kind of dumb, short-sighted behavior that blows up a marriage and a bank account at the same time. Some commenters also pointed out practical stuff. Like, hey, the UK has revenge porn laws. You might actually have legal options. Not just for the image leak, but for the blackmail too. And yeah, divorce lawyers exist for exactly this kind of mess. One person said, "Get a lawyer, cut him loose, and let him deal with his own shame." Harsh, maybe, but also accurate. And here's where the tone shifts a little, because the wife reads all of this. And she comes back with an update. But before she gives that update, she has to clear a few things up. Because believe it or not, some people in the comments started calling her a doormat. Or worse. They accused her of being AI, of making the whole thing up. She even had to post a reply just to prove she was a real person. English isn't her first language, she explains, which is why she used the term revenge smut, because the police and the solicitor used it. She wasn't trying to defend him. She was just trying to tell her story. So she sets the record straight. She says, "I am not staying. I am getting a divorce. I never said he didn't cheat. I consider being on dating apps cheating, period. No ambiguity, no forgiveness tour." And then she drops the update. And this is where things get real. She's already moved out. She's already hired a solicitor. She's already started the divorce process. Her husband, he's devastated, begging her not to leave, telling her she's abandoning him at the worst time of his life. But she's not budging. And her reason is crystal clear. "I'm not leaving because he's a victim. I'm leaving because he was on a dating app, exchanging intimate photos, and because he took £5,500 from our savings." That's it. That's the update. She blocked him. She's done. And honestly, good for her. So the wife comes back with an update, but before she even gets into what happened next, she has to address something kind of wild. Some of the comments on her first post, and even some direct messages, were not great. People called her a doormat. They asked why she was staying. Some even accused her of being AI or a bot making up a story. I mean, seriously, she had to post a reply just to prove she was a real human being. And look, her English isn't perfect. She says that up front. It's not her first language. She used the term revenge smut because the police and her husband's solicitor used it. She said down payment in a way that wasn't technically correct, and people jumped on her for it. She had to turn off her messages because the names she was getting called, she wouldn't even repeat them. Honestly, it's exhausting just reading about it. Here's a woman whose husband emptied their savings, humiliated her publicly, and then some strangers on the internet decide to kick her while she's down. What is wrong with people? But here's the thing, she doesn't let it break her. She clarifies very firmly, "I am not staying. I am going to get a divorce." She says she never claimed her husband didn't cheat. He said he didn't meet anyone in person. She doesn't believe him. And honestly, she says, even if he never met anyone, being on dating apps is cheating. Full stop. So then she gives the update, and it's decisive. She moved out on a Saturday, got a solicitor, started the divorce process. She says, I will not be changing my mind. Her husband, though, he's not taking it well. He's upset. He's begging her not to leave. And here's the part that really gets me. He keeps saying he's the victim, that she's abandoning him at the worst time of his life. And yeah, his career is taking a hit because those photos and messages were sent to everyone on his LinkedIn. So he's embarrassed, he's struggling. But victim, she addresses that directly. She says, I am not leaving him because he is a victim. I am leaving him because he was on a dating app messaging others and exchanging intimate photos, and because he took £5,500 from our savings and left us with nothing. That's the clearest, most reasonable explanation I've ever heard. She's not punishing him for being extorted. She's leaving because of the choices he made before the extortion even started. Now, here's where the legal reality gets a little frustrating. She's in the UK, and divorce there is no fault. That means the reason for the divorce, the cheating, the lies, the drained savings, doesn't really matter in court. Her solicitor told her she might be able to recover some of the money, but everything else, not relevant to the divorce itself. She also likely won't have to pay spousal maintenance since they've only been married 2 years. So the system isn't going to punish him, but she's not waiting for the system to validate her. She's already validated herself. She told her husband there's no reason for them to speak or see each other again. She moved out. She wants the divorce. And then she blocked him. Just blocked. No more conversations, no more begging, no more, but I'm a victim. And good for her. Seriously. Because you can feel how tired she is in her words. Not angry in a fiery way. Just drained. Like she's been carrying this weight for too long and finally put it down. She thanks the people who were kind to her, who didn't call her names, who didn't send hateful messages. And she ends the update with zero ambiguity. I will not change my mind about this. She's not backing down. She's not going to be guilt-tripped into staying. She's not buying the victim narrative. She's just done. And honestly, that's the healthiest thing she could do for herself. So that's where her story ends, or at least where her update ends. She's out. She's got a lawyer. She's moving on. And the internet, for the most part, finally rallied behind her. Because it took her a minute to get there, but once she did, she didn't waver. Okay, so that first story wrapped up about as well as it could, given the disaster. But now we're moving on to a completely different kind of mess. And honestly, this one might make you even angrier. So meet Haley. She's 12 years old. Lives with her dad, her stepmom, and 4 younger step-siblings. 2 boys, 2 girls, all between 5 and 10. Haley's real mom passed away when she was 3, so she's been growing up in a house that's crowded, chaotic, and honestly, pretty poor. We're talking 1 pair of shoes per kid, reusing school supplies until they disintegrate. No new school clothes unless the old ones literally don't fit anymore. And Haley shares a room with her stepsisters. So zero privacy. Enter the aunt, the mom's sister. She's doing well financially, and she's been trying to help Haley for a while. But here's the tricky part. She refuses to just give the dad money. Because every time she's tried that before, saying, use this for Haley's shoes or jacket, the money just gets split between all 5 kids. Which, okay, I get wanting to be fair, but that's not what the aunt intended. And there's already bad blood. The dad blames the aunt for CPS investigating him and his wife because they were leaving the kids home alone. Every day. Haley actually stays with her aunt after school and sleeps over a few nights a week because the aunt won't drop her off if no adult is home. She even told Haley not to get on the bus home. So yeah, it's tense. Now here's where the glasses come in. Haley and 2 of her step-siblings need glasses. Nobody can take Haley to her eye exam, so they ask the aunt. They give her $100 and say, get the cheapest pair you can find. But on the way to the eye doctor, Haley tells her aunt she really wants contacts. Dad said no. The aunt talks to the receptionist, and they squeeze Haley in for a contact fitting that same day. After the appointment, they look at glasses. Haley finds 2 pairs she loves, and the aunt says, get both. She pays for everything herself. The contacts, both pairs of glasses, the fitting, everything. A few days later, the glasses arrive. Haley loves them, but her dad, furious, first about the 2 pairs. Then he finds out about the contacts. Haley had been keeping them in her backpack, never told him. He blows up, says she can keep 1 pair of glasses and everything else has to stay at the aunt's house. His reason: he's sick of Haley rubbing her stuff in her step-siblings' faces. And what did rubbing it in mean? She put both pairs of glasses on her dresser. That's it. Just visible. The other kids could see them and feel bad. So Haley responds the only way a 12-year-old with nowhere else to go can. She packs most of her stuff, and she walks to her aunt's house, refuses to go back. CPS gets involved again. The other kids tell the investigator that Haley doesn't live there anymore, which, obviously, does not help the dad's case. Now the dad wants the aunt to make Haley come back and stop spoiling her so she won't upset the step-siblings. And the aunt is left wondering, am I the a-hole here for getting a kid glasses and contacts so she can see? But here's where it gets messy, because it's not just about the glasses. It's about a household where 5 kids are struggling. 1 kid has a lifeline, and the dad's response isn't, "I'm glad someone cares." It's, "Stop making my other kids feel bad." So yeah, we gotta break this down. So the aunt posts this story on Reddit asking, straight up, am I the a-hole for buying my niece 2 pairs of glasses and letting her get contacts? And the comments come flooding in. Almost everyone says the same thing. Not the a-hole, not even close. One commenter puts it perfectly. They say, Haley's mom is dead. The step-siblings have a living mom. Having a living mom is way better than 2 pairs of glasses. But Haley didn't get to choose about her mom. Let her have the glasses and contacts. It's a very small consolation. And honestly, that hit hard. Another person says, you're doing what her mother can't. Right, that's the whole thing. The aunt isn't trying to show off or make anyone feel bad. She's just stepping into a role that should have been filled by Haley's mom, but tragically can't be. And then someone brings up something really important. Survivor benefits. Because Haley's mom passed away, there's likely a Social Security survivor benefit check being sent every month to care for her. But if Haley is spending most of her time at her aunt's house, or sleeping over 3 to 4 nights a week, the dad might still be collecting that money improperly. One commenter says flat out, if she's staying with you, he should not be claiming that check. So that adds a whole other layer. The consensus is clear. The aunt is not the problem. The dad is angry not because anything wrong happened, but because his other kids don't have what Haley has. Which is sad for them, but that's not Haley's fault. And it's not the aunt's fault either. Now let's get to the update, because this is where the story takes a turn. Haley ends up in the hospital. Possible Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. On top of that, she has type 1 diabetes and ADHD. And the ADHD, currently not being treated. Her dad's insurance basically only covers the county hospital and medical centers, and even that is getting expensive. But here's the thing. The aunt lives 20 minutes from one of the best children's hospitals in the country for both GI issues and diabetes. 35 minutes from another world-renowned hospital, and her insurance would cover it. Top-tier care, for less than what she's currently paying out of pocket for subpar treatment. So she sits Haley's dad down, shows him the numbers, what she pays every month for Haley's health insurance premiums, insulin monitor, insulin pump, EpiPens, doctor visits. And she says, I refuse to keep paying more for worse care when if I had guardianship, she'd get the best care for less. After a long conversation, back and forth, a lot of tension, he agrees. He says yes to giving her guardianship. They start the paperwork. Haley will live with her aunt full-time, see her dad every other weekend and holidays. They tell Haley, and she's not upset. She's not conflicted. She's excited, officially excited to live with her aunt. So the guardianship process has started. The aunt will be able to put Haley on her insurance, get her into those world-class hospitals, and actually manage her diabetes, her possible Crohn's, and get her ADHD treated, all for less money than she's currently throwing at a broken system. It's not a perfect ending. Haley's still in the hospital. There's a long road ahead. But for the first time in this whole story, there's real hope. and you can feel the relief in the aunt's voice. Finally, someone is fighting for Haley the way a parent should. Okay, so after all that drama, we need a palate cleanser, something light, something where someone actually wins. And trust me, this one delivers. It's 2006. The narrator's big sister just started driving, and her parents, like most parents back then, bought her the biggest pile of crap car they could find. We're talking a mid-80s gold Geo Metro, duct tape holding one of the mirrors on, rusty, dented, dinged, just ugly. One evening, she's driving to Pizza Hut to pick up her paycheck. Sun is going down. And then, wham! Someone in a big black Suburban backs into her front driver's side. Hard. The car is completely totaled. Luckily, sister is fine, so both parties have insurance. Cops file a report. Parents start hunting for a new car. Simple, right? Wait for it. Weeks later, they get a letter from the Suburban's insurance company. They want our insurance to pay for damage to the Suburban. Claim says the sister was speeding through the parking lot. Parents are confused. Sister swears she was going slow because the setting sun made it hard to see. Then they find the police report. And here's where it gets good. The deputy noted that the duct-taped mirror on the Geo Metro, the one held on by literal tape, fell straight down. Straight down. You know what that means? She wasn't speeding. She was nearly stopped, or completely stopped. So the parents' insurance says not our fault, and they're actually nice about it. They offer to settle for just $350, which is exactly what they paid for the car. A tiny, generous offer. Suburban lady says no. She's confident she's not at fault. She tells the parents, and I quote, "You'll have to take me to small claims court." So they do. Bet. To file the case, they need a repair estimate. Problem: the Geo Metro is so old, parts are impossible to find. No replacement panels, no doors. So the shop quotes the cost to repair the panels, replace the tire, fix the suspension, everything she messed up by backing into a stopped car. $4,000. They try mediation. Offer again to settle for $350. She refuses, still convinced she's blameless. Court day arrives. Judge determines the lady didn't check behind her before backing out. Parents are awarded the full $4 grand. So let's do the math. They bought the car for $350. They walked away with $4,000. That's a profit of $3,650 on a car held together by duct tape and dreams. Honestly, that's beautiful. That's malicious compliance at its finest. If you made it this far, you clearly enjoy these wild Reddit stories. So do me a favor, smash that like button, it really helps. And subscribe if you want more updates, more chaos, more satisfying endings. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.